Good evening and welcome to the What a Man podcast. I am Ty Nichelle, and joining me this evening is recording artist, rap artist Peace 765. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. So number one, I'd like to thank you for agreeing to be a guest on the podcast. And before we get started with our conversation, just give everyone a brief introduction of who you are.
Thank you for having me. My name is P765. I'm a rap artist. I'm out of Muncie, Indiana. I uh, I I started doing rap, or I started just kind of making music. Just kind of I love music. Music's done a lot for me and stuff, and I'm just a rapper and a sometimes singer songwriter. This kind of thing.
Mhm. So, before we get started, like I said, thank you again. And I wanted to talk about your music. So, you have an album out now. It's called Sober Thoughts of a High Mind. Um, and I've listened to some tracks, and I can honestly say that I do enjoy your album. It is very different. I also saw a post on Instagram that you made, and you put, the music these days are talking about women, guns, sex, drugs, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but you seem to want to bring it from a different angle. So
yeah.
tell us what you want to accomplish with your music style.
First of all, thank you for listening to the album. I appreciate it. I appreciate
Mhm.
everybody that listens, and I genuinely it comes from my heart, and I genuinely appreciate it. And I like to starting off like kind of the reason I started making music 8 years ago is because I wanted to be different. I wanted to have like a different voice. I love all types of music, and I love I listened to a lot of rap, particularly at the time. I still do, but it's and I loved like stuff, and I found these artists that were different and stuff, but there wasn't some like I wanted to fit like an individual piece. Like I wanted to be like there was unique artists, and but like what I wanted to do, I wanted to be a unique individual that like you go to listen that you couldn't get from anybody else. And
Mhm.
that really inspired me to just kind of be different. And I always wanted to be different. I always wanted to be myself. Like you'd see these rappers, and I'm not knocking them or nothing up, but you see them like they're doing their own. They're doing their thing, and rapping about drugs, women, and money. And like I like weed and stuff, but like I'm not like really rapping about drugs, like or like uh, I'm not really degrading women or like kind of any of that in my music. It's just kind of like my perspective of just just myself and my experiences and what I really live. I don't want to lie on music. Like I just want to express my soul, like just want to express myself, you know.
So, who are some of your, whether it doesn't matter the genre, who are some of your musical influences?
Um the main ones, Kendrick Lamar probably the number one, J. Cole probably number two, um, John Lennon, the Beatles. I listen to a lot of old music, Frank Sinatra, the Beatles. Just a lot of old music. I like a lot of jazz. Like my favorite genres of music are soul, jazz, uh, rap, and then the multi genres within those genres. But
Mhm.
yeah,
So, music has a big influence on a lot of things. It has sometimes influence on our children, some of the TV that we watch, and things like that. So, with everything, as you said, and I will have to agree, it's a lot of the, repetitive sex, drugs, and especially with the women, with this, as they call it. I think they call it whole culture. I think, I'm not sure, I'm not really sure. But what would you what like in what category would you place your music? Would it be like more so neo soul, or would it be like poetry set to music? Like what would you think you fit in at?
I feel like I'm right in between rap and soul. Kind of a soulful rap is like kind of my thing, like my signature sound kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like I do explore genres, and recently I have been exploring genres. I've been wanting to do it for a long time, and I finally was able to do it. And I just wanted to say something about what you said at the beginning of the question. I do believe that there is a place for that kind of music, and there's a place for all music and everything. I just wanted to be, that unique voice. Like I'm not coming at it like against it. I'm just kind of like being somebody that's like, if you get tired of that kind of stuff, like you come to my music, or like,
Hmm.
rappers like me, there's artists like me, like in that kind of subgenre. And yeah,
So, and in no way that I think you was coming for it, because you are right. You do get tired of the same thing all the time. Just like we were, a few of my other guests, we were talking about reality TV and how you just get tired of seeing people fighting and
yeah,
over men and fighting over who said what to who and why they said it. It's
yeah,
where the shows that uplift you or show you, how to make it in whatever you're trying to do. Like those are the things that we need to see more of. So I totally agree with you.
yeah.
Would you say being an artist that's going in a different direction, is it harder to push your music versus if you were rapping about the normal?
I would for sure say that it is harder because I do have a little, I do have a little fan base, and I genuinely appreciate them. Like nothing too big or nothing, but like I do have people that really listen to music and really like it and like the messages. And it definitely is harder to push that to a wider audience because I do want to reach people. I do want to reach as many people as I can, and I know that some people just do not like the kind of music that I make and stuff, and that's okay.
Mhm.
But I just want to reach the people that like the music and that maybe need that kind of music. I want to reach them, and like it is definitely harder, but uh, good things are always the hardest.
Mhm. Mhm. So is there because with all of this stuff going on now in the industry and the Diddy stuff and stuff and stuff and stuff. So in at any point, because you just said, and I would have to probably agree, even though I really don't know, it is harder to push something when it's out of the realm of what's going on now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so at any point, if someone approached you about pushing your music, and they guaranteed you that they could get you to a broader audience and a wider, platform, is there anything that you would be willing to change or sacrifice as far as your music? And I'm not saying sacrifice like this Illuminati stuff that we're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm just saying, like, if somebody says to you, "Oh, well, don't rap about trees and grass. Rap about something else,"
yeah,
would
yeah.
you be willing to change it up a bit?
I'm willing to try new sounds. I'm always willing to try new sounds, whatever it may be. But the lyrics will always remain the same. The lyrical focus, because that's kind of who I am. And if you take that away, then I'm
Mhm,
not really who I want to be. That unique individual that kind of stands out of the crowd. I
mhm,
want. I'm willing to like try any type of sound, any uh, like on my recent album, I like a lot of boom bap stuff and stuff, but I also try like auto tune and like that kind of stuff, and I do feel like I can do that in a good way, but I have
mhm,
to keep that lyrical focus. I have to keep that, and I can incorporate things, but like if it's against what I'm trying to maintain, then I can't do it.
mhm, mhm. I agree. So how important do you think, because I'm gonna be honest, when I listened to your music, then I saw you and I was like, oh, okay, that okay. So I mean, and it's not a bad thing. So please
Yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah.
take it
No,
in that
no.
way. How do you feel about imaging? How important do you feel imaging is, or does it even matter as long as the music is good?
Uh, that is a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up because that is a really good question. Um, Imaging is important, but it a good example is Bobby Caldwell.
Mhm.
Yeah, he kind of I'm not sure if it was, I believe it was his record label that did that strategy where it was like he um he was a white guy, but he was making some like soulful music back in the late 70s, mid 70s, and his hit song "What You Won't Do for Love." They had a music video for it, and they started it out with him, and he was kind of a silhouette, and they just kind of they played that up, and then they revealed it, and then like you see all these reactors on YouTube and stuff. They're like, "Damn, I didn't know he was white." Like, and they're like shocked, because the music's really good, and like it's so good, and like just expressive and soulful, and it's like you wouldn't. His voice is really good. You wouldn't think, that's what he looked like, but I
Mhm.
feel like that you can use that to your advantage because people might like see me and they're like, "Oh, they kind of judge a book by its cover." A lot of people do that, and but when you hear the music, you're like, "Damn, this is like it's really good." Like it.
Mhm.
So I feel like it doesn't matter what people look like as long as the music is good.
Mhm. So tell us about Sober Thoughts of a High Mind. What's that about?
It is. It is a really personal album. My first ever album I ever made. I've been doing music for about 7.5 years now, since I was 16,
Hmm.
and um, the uh, the focus was I would drop singles. Like I would always just drop singles, kind of like I had like a start in like SoundCloud. So like a lot of SoundCloud rappers and stuff, they would just drop songs. Like they would just drop songs, and then eventually they would drop an album and then music videos. But like it was always like singles kind of thing. And
Hmm.
I kind of did that for a lot of my early career, but I finally got a little more budget and a little more like time. Uh, with me, like I'm probably my biggest fan of my music because I'm like I record a song, and then if I have to hold off for it like on an album or something, I'm like, man, I really want to drop it now. Like I'm really excited because I love making music, I love the process, and I love people's reaction when they hear it. So
Hmm.
it's always something that is important to me. But I was able to keep it in the vault and then keep all these songs together, and finally I pushed it out, and it was it was I've wanted to do it for a long time, and the album basically is kind of a this kind of I take inspiration from a lot of Kendrick Lamar early albums. It's not like a storyline. There's nothing like as deep or intricate as his albums. Like there's not like a narrative, not really like a deep narrative kind of thing. It's kind of like it's kind of as the title describes it, sober thoughts of a high mind. I dropped it on 420, so it's like you know people are going to smoke to it and listen to it and go, and people have, and I appreciate them so much. If you don't smoke or whatnot, that doesn't really matter, but it can
Hmm.
enhance the music for people, some people, and it's basically like real life thoughts, uh, like from depression to struggling, uh, being thankful you're alive kind of thing. It's like all these thoughts that would be in your mind, but like just kind of under the influence, like, and I like to. It's kind of a little thing. I like to imagine it as like the album is kind of like me at a bar playing to a crowd, and I'm just kind of drinking and smoking, kind of getting more lit as the stuff goes on, and it's just continue like pouring out my soul over that kind of thing. Like that's why I like to think about it.
So one thing that I always like to touch on when I do interview uh, for this podcast is mental health. So you said something about depression, and what I'm trying to do, besides highlight you all, is to bring awareness to the fact that men do go through things. They may not express it like women. They may not, handle it like other people. But sometimes they just hold it in, and then it turns into things like you said, suicide, or
Yeah,
drinking, drugs, or whatever the case.
yeah.
Um, are there any points in your life that you had to deal with these battles with depression and mental health struggles? And if you did, how were you able to conquer them?
That's a really good question, and I appreciate you for asking that because mental health is a big part of my music. One of the biggest reasons I started making music was because music helped me get through some hard stuff. You know, going through as a teenager, you don't really experience the crushing things that can happen when you're a young adult. When you're a teenager, you know, things go on, and of course, but things aren't things aren't going to be the worst that they're going to be kind of when you're a teenager. At least for me, it wasn't. I of course went
Mhm,
through things. I have depression and I have anxiety, and
mhm,
if I let these things go, they can be really bad. But I learned to maintain and stay on top of it, and then the things they I can't let it get bad because I've had times gone through breakups and hard times struggling, and
mhm,
I've been really depressed, and sometimes I used to just sit in my room, never go outside, and it was the worst I ever been. And one of the main things that helped me was, of course, family, of course, the support, my family, and I'm forever thankful for them. But also, music. Music helped inspire me. Music helped get me up through the day, and do what I needed to do. And so
mhm.
I'm forever thankful for music. I feel like I owe it to music because music helped me out of that dark place. And I never would have thought that I would be better because, I've had multiple times things have been so bad, but I'm forever thankful that music has helped me. And
Mhm.
um, if you listen to the right artists, like I'm gonna name a few that helped me, Mac Miller, his more recent albums, and like just Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole and stuff like that really helped me get through the toughest times I've had in my life. And
Mhm.
I'm forever thankful for these artists and the music that they made, and that kind of all that inspires me to make music that also helps people. And I hope that my music can help people.
So, do you feel like, and number one, I'm happy to know that you have a support system that helps you or has helped you through these times. Um, and I would assume that they do encourage you to continue to be great and do your music. So that's a great thing.
Yeah,
Um, there is music out here. Um, let's see, Juice World, rest in peace to him. He made
yeah, R.I.P.
music, and uh, XXX,
Yeah,
um, sometimes Lil Uzi Vert, and they made these suicide songs. Okay,
yeah.
so to speak. What do you think about that music? Now, help me to understand because I don't know. When they make these songs and they're talking about suicide and depression, now is that to help the listener, or is it to kind of like, because sometimes when people listen, depending on how the person receives it when they listen to it, I've heard cases where it's like, oh, they listened to the song and then immediately after they committed suicide.
Yeah.
So what is that music for? Is it for to help them through it, or is it for like a guide, so to speak?
I feel like uh, a lot of like these songs like X and Juice World, I feel like they had the best of intentions. It's all about how you utilize it. It's all about how you execute these messages, and you have to make sure that it's not encouraging suicide or I feel like XXX is one of my earliest influences also, and a
Mhm,
lot of his stuff is really good. And I
mhm,
feel like more so with Juice World, I see that he had good intentions, but some of his songs like condoning drug use and like that's like popular, but
mhm,
Juice World, I know he wasn't a bad guy. Like God bless his soul, R.I.P. And I know that he had probably had the best of intentions, but
mhm,
if you don't utilize or if you don't execute, if you just kind of throw lyrics out there, which he freestyled a lot of his stuff, if not all of his stuff. So like his lyrics were just kind of like off the top, and so like you can't really utilize when you're like thinking and writing these thoughts. You can kind of write it in a way where it's like not condoning, but if you like kind of off the top, and that's way harder. It takes a lot of talent to freestyle. I'm not a freestyler. I'm a writer, more of a writer, and
mhm,
it's really hard to when you're freestyling. It's hard to utilize the messages. Um,
mhm,
Lil Wayne's a great instance of this because he freestyles. I think all of his stuff. If yeah, I think I think believe he said he stopped writing way back then, and he freestyles and he still continues to make like great stuff with good messages.
mhm.
But he's just been doing it for a long time and he knows how to do it and everything. But I feel like when you're freestyling, it's just off the top. Like it's maybe not not a lot of thoughts put into it because if you think about it too much, then it can choke you up. So
Right. Mhm.
yeah.
So, if you could work with anybody besides the obvious, because I've heard you mention J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar a few times,
Yeah, yeah.
they would be obvious. But besides the obvious, is there anyone in the industry that you would be just wanted to hook up with to either write, produce, perform, any type of collaboration? Who would that be?
Um, that's a really good question. I think I'm gonna name a few: Isaiah Rashad, um, Paul McCartney, um,
Okay.
Metro Boomin is one of my favorite producers.
Mhm,
Joey Badass, he's one of my favorite boom bap kind of type rappers. Action
mhm,
Bronson, Earl Sweatshirt is one of my favorites that I would love to make something with him. Ski Master Slump God, um, and yeah, just kind of in that group. It's like a nice little weird little. They're in their like own little weird artists where they're unique, and but they do stand out. Like I really like them and like the music that they make. So yeah, that's
mhm. And on the business aspect of it, if you could take business advice from anyone who's made it in the industry or become a mogul. So, for example, my two favorites are, and anybody who knows me knows that I'm about to say the RZA and 50 Cent. So, if there's anybody on the business side of it, who would you love to have in your corner as far as marketing, promotion, and that type of thing?
um, I would say Dr. Dre, just because he is he made Eminem into what he is now.
Mhm,
He's he's made his own explosive career, and all the legendary stuff he did with NWA and stuff, and he knows how to make he knows how to make he knows how to give legends a platform, and he knows how
mhm,
to kind of lift them up, give them their own voice, and not be the main focus. Like he kind of lifts artists up, and he he's a billionaire and whatnot. Like he knows the business side of stuff, and he knows he's a really smart guy. And so
mhm.
I think that Dr. Dre for sure would be mine.
So, and where did you tell me you were from again? I'm sorry.
I'm from Muncie, Indiana.
Okay. And what's the climate out there? Like what's it like? Like I've never been there? Like, so is this like a, do you guys do a lot of hip hop, R&B, country? Like what is it out there?
There is a lot of hip hop and rap, and there is a lot of like indie bands and stuff going on. It's kind of a college town. In
Mm,
half of it, like there's Ball State University, which is that is in Muncie, and so there's like the whole north side, and I forget what side Ball State's on, but the whole kind of that area is like a lot of college kids, a lot of college culture, which I love the culture around that area. There's like a lot of venues and stuff I've been able to perform at. Be Here Now is a great venue. I want to shout them out. They they make this like there's this culture of people that there's like indie bands and rappers and singers and all types of this thing and Be Here Now they're blended all in together, so like it's a beautiful mixture of like everything that you could ever want. And like
mhm,
um I love that area, I love that culture. There's
mhm,
some of a lot of people there's a lot of people that are always going to be like, I hate my hometown and kind of thing, and I want to
mhm,
leave. But I honestly love my city, and it's I believe like 30,000 people or something. It's pretty like not really like medium kind of city kind of thing, and there's
mhm.
so many cool people that I've met, and there's like some of the best people that I've ever met. My childhood friends. Uh, Shout out my friend Harrison, Taryn, Will, Nathan. Those are my brothers growing up. I've known them for like 10, 15 years growing up. And like, I just I love the people around there. There's, of course, going to be bad people, but I love the whole culture and all the people around there. There's a lot of haters, but there's a lot of support also. There's a lot of people that will support you, and you just have to find the right
Mhm.
people and you have to reach the right people.
So with that being said, because that was exactly about to be my next question that you brought it up and you said you love your city. Um, I'm from Baltimore and I've a lot of my interviews have been with people from Baltimore. And I asked them if they were given the opportunity to expand, would they leave or would they, stay? Some said yes without question, and some said they would have to. It would be a huge think about. What would that look like for you? Would you be willing to leave, or would be like a huge think about for you?
So I currently live about 2 hours away. I'm somewhat close to Chicago, and I'm moving back to Muncie in 2 months. So
Hmm.
I would, if I really like, I've always wanted to move to California,
Hmm.
and but the prices are high, and it was more just because of like the weather, the weed, and the just kind of that thing. And but I would be willing to move away, but I do love my city, and it gets hard because I live here and I can't always go there. I do go there pretty frequently, but I can't like always go there. Sometimes I have to wait a month or something, and
Hmm.
all my people there, all my family there. I live with my girlfriend here, and this is her like hometown, and I like this. I like this little town. It's a nice town, but it really does
Hmm.
feel like my heart is in Muncie, and I am willing to move away, like wherever wherever opportunities may be. I would be
Hmm.
willing to take risks, go to another city if I could even have a chance to
Hmm.
reach an audience or have an opportunity to like just that kind of thing. I would love to do that, but
Hmm.
it would be hard. But I would be willing to do it.
And that's good because who knows, what can happen. From where you're from, is there anyone in your town that you um look up to musically? Is there anyone there that has mentored you and has
Oh yeah,
helped you become who you are?
yeah, for sure. Funny enough, my friends, I have a few friends that rap, and they said that I inspired them to start making music, and that means a lot to me. And
Mhm.
one of the people that really helped me. His name was Peter. His name was Pistol Pete, and he passed away a few years ago. God bless his soul. But he we used to uh, s- chill in my old neighborhood. Shout out Mayfield. We used to chill at a bus stop, smoke a blunt, and like freestyle. And like he really got me into music. Like it would always like I always loved music, but it was always like, oh, that's music. Like I could never do that. And he was a local artist that he like made some good songs, like really good songs and really catchy songs. And he like showed me that you could do it. And like he would pull up and like bump it in his car. And like I just thought that was so cool. And I really did always look up to him.
Mhm.
And he was real for me in certain situations. And I appreciate him for that forever. And that is really one of my only mentor, quotations mentor kind of thing. And
Mhm.
but some artists I do look up to from my city, Phoenix the Nomad. He is probably one of my favorites. He has a lot. He likes a lot of the same artists I do, but he still is able to do his own unique thing. Our music doesn't really sound similar. Like he makes really, really good music, and um, uh, Measy World Taryn, my friend Taryn, he inspires me. We
Mhm.
inspire each other, and it's a great cycle to be in, And my friend Will, he hasn't made music for a few years, but he's gonna hop back into it at some point. But he's inspired me. The people that I have inspired, they also inspire me to keep doing what I'm doing, and it means a lot that I could influence or inspire people. Um, and there's a lot more dope artists that inspire me. I can't name at the top of my head, and
Mhm.
but there's a lot of really dope creative people that are making music in Muncie that I do look up to. That I can't find the words right now, but yeah.
So, do you do anything else besides write? Do you produce? Do you play an instrument? Like, do you do any of those other things?
Um, I have made beats. Not I haven't used them in my music. I'm still trying to learn how to do everything, because it can be a lot using certain programs and stuff.
Mhm.
People that make beats are the ones that like really set the tone and like kind of a beat is like the main part of the song, so it has to be like good. And I
Mhm.
don't want to like half-ass some stuff. I can be a perfectionist at times, and it does really suck sometimes, but uh,
Mhm.
it makes the quality better once the things are done. So
Mhm.
I always have wanted. I used to have a guitar. I played it for a few months, and I sold it. And I do want to get a guitar again because I really do want to learn how to play guitar and piano. Those are the two
Mhm.
things I really want to learn because I love instruments. I love, as I said before, old music and stuff, and that really inspired me to want to learn how to play
Mhm.
instruments and do that kind of thing. And people that can do that are just, it takes so much dedication and practice. I highly respect anybody that plays an instrument and whatnot. So,
Mhm. So, just to have a little tiny bit of fun, really, for a quick second. So, um, J. Cole, Kendrick, some of your favorites. What's your take on the whole J. Cole, Kendrick, Rick Ross, Kanye, everybody in the rap industry versus Drake? what's your
see,
take on
it's really interesting. It's funny because uh, Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole are like my two favorite artists. Like, there's no like first and second place. They're like equally at the top for me. And
that?
uh, when uh, when Kendrick when they dropped that when Kendrick dissed J. Cole, I was like, damn. It was mainly a diss to Drake, but he threw in lines about J. Cole or referencing their song together, First Person Shooter, and
Hmm.
I was like, damn, I wonder how Cole's gonna respond. And I was like, I loved it because Kendrick Kendrick when he disses people, it's never like real beef. It's never like it's never like nobody's gonna die, or like it's not like gonna resort to violence.
Mhm.
It's like he's just doing it for the kind of sport. Because I remember 11 years ago or something, I think believe 2013, he hopped on Big Sean's Control song, and he dissed. I believe he dissed a lot of people, and he dissed. I believe he said something about Big Sean on his own song, and they still dropped it. So like he just kind of does it for the sport, and it definitely it brings out like discussion, and it really it gets people talking about like certain things again, like certain like people are always going to talk about rap and stuff, but they
Mhm.
all it's like bringing back like competition. There's not
Mhm.
really too much competition in rap anymore. Really like how kind of Biggie and Pac. I know they had their beef, and I think that was like some real stuff. I'm not gonna talk about too much that I don't know, but I
Mhm.
think that it was like some real life stuff going on. So like that is not like Kendrick and Cole. Like they don't have any real life stuff going on. Like
Mhm.
they they're just kind of doing it for the sport. And J. Cole, um, I believe that he should have never responded. I know he kind of had to, but if he was going to say something, he shouldn't have taken it back. I respect him for no matter what. I see some people are saying like, I can never, I can never listen to J. Cole again, or like some dramatic like that. And
Mhm.
it's like if that changes, that shouldn't change your view on him, because like J. Cole is like a good guy. He's like a good humble guy. Like I love the personality. Like I love his kind of uh, I love him as an artist and what he conveys. Um, and so like he's a good dude. I don't believe that if he should have responded, if he wasn't going to stand on it, but
Mhm.
I definitely don't see him in a different light like some people are. And
Mhm.
it, I respect him no matter what, and I appreciate him, but I don't think he should have responded if he didn't stand on that. And but yeah, I do like Drake. I do like some of his stuff, and of course, he's like a legend in his own right. He's not one of
Mhm.
my favorites, but I can acknowledge that he has some classics, and he's doing something right, because he's one of the most popular artists in the world, and I can't really hate on him, but I don't really like his stuff as much, like kind of thing. Like, and I lost respect for him when the world found out like he had ghostwriters and stuff, because I'm a very big like I'm young, but I am like an old quotations old head when it comes to like writing your own
Mhm.
stuff and like kind of thing. Like I believe like that is what makes it like creative, and like
Mhm.
I believe like that is you're putting yourself into music. And if you're not like writing your own words, like it's slightly different. If you're like I don't believe Elvis wrote any of his songs. I don't believe he did, but he sang them with a passion, and like kind of he put his own personality into the vocals, and like he sang with his soul. But Drake, it's tougher because it's rap and he sings and stuff and whatnot, but it's not really the same. Like if you're not writing your own stuff, I think it just comes with the genre, for me at least. Like it just.
So I have to, because again, I have to defend Drake a little bit because he is my absolute, he's my favorite, well, one of them anyway. So, and I don't, and this is just me having fun because I don't know anything about ghostwriting and writings. Because at one point in time, a lot of people don't know this. I was doing music myself and I did write a lot of my stuff. However,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
person that I used to work with, he was the more experienced person. So I would go to him to
yeah.
help me maybe like put some bars together, or how
Oh
can I
yeah,
do this in the words,
yeah.
whatever. So what if that is the case? Does that make a difference?
I think that it is different if you're collaborating and like that kind of thing. I don't necessarily see it as wrong for people to do it, but I think and I don't know everything that goes on behind the doors with Drake and stuff, but
Mhm.
if somebody like writes an entire song, not just a collaboration, but like writes an entire song. Like see with his diss, he dropped a diss on Kendrick and other people and stuff. And like I believe that if you didn't write your own diss, that kind of takes away the credibility because
Okay.
that's supposed to be you and putting your. But that's like a different instance. I don't
Mhm.
believe that like it really depends on the situation. Like it, I of course no disrespect or nothing, about it, but I,
No.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It really just depends on the situation. I think for me, like in hip hop, um, like it's not that it is necessarily wrong, but I feel like for certain people, it could take away credibility if you don't write like your like a lot, like most of a song or something like there's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with like collaborating and stuff like that. That can like spark inspiration and like make do wonderful things. It's just I feel like it's really situational.
Is there is there any R&B artist that you would love to have on a song, maybe to sing a hook or, something like that you would love to work with as well?
Um, Current, I really do like Daniel Caesar. He's really good. Um, I'm trying to think because I don't really listen to modern R&B. I really
Hmm.
listen to like old 70s, 60s, 70s R&B,
Okay.
all the greats, a lot of James Brown and just got Marvin Gaye, like the classic like the classic soul and like just kind of that I listen to a lot of that and there are artists that like I'm sure I would love to collaborate with that I just haven't found yet. But I do listen to like a lot of modern music, but it really depends on what it is and certain things. So, but for sure, Daniel Caesar. Um, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Yeah, I'm not sure at the top of my head because I can't name like too many modern R&B artists. And I know
Hmm.
there's a lot. I know there's a lot of great ones that I haven't discovered yet.
No,
But
get it. You like what you like, and that's cool.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's cool. At the beginning of our interview, we discussed how your music was different, and because of that, it was hard to kind of push it out there to get people to listen to it because it was, out of the realm of what we're used to listening to and what
yeah,
we're used to seeing. So, if you had any advice for someone who was trying to push anything that was different, what would you tell them?
for sure. Just find your music. Find the people that will listen to your music. Find your audience. Find your demographic. Find them. Push as much as you can, and don't ever give up. Don't ever stop chasing. You can do it if you really put your mind to it.
Mhm. Says Dr. Dre and Ice Cube, I think. Well, anyway, I wanted to say thank you so very much for agreeing to do this. Like I said, I did listen to your album, I did enjoy it. Um, I look forward to hearing and seeing more of you. I think you are very talented, and I think that what you're doing is good because different is always good. Just for anybody who wants to take a break from shooting guns, let's go over here and have some high thoughts. So if anybody wanted to listen to your music, follow you on social media or anything like that, where could they find you?
All my music is on YouTube at Peace765, and my Instagram is it's Peace765, and that's pretty much like my. If you're trying to find me, that's pretty much where I'm at. I try to make it as easy as possible to find me. So,
Mhm.
and thank you so much for having me on the show. It means a lot. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the music. I genuinely means a lot, and I appreciate everybody that does. And thank you.
No problem at all. So again, like I said, congratulations. Dope album you got.
Thank you.
And I will definitely, again, like I said, love to see and hear from you in the future. And then maybe we'll have you back and we'll, discuss what you got going on. And hopefully by then you would have met Dr. Dre and maybe Metro Boomin and
Yeah,
everything else.
yeah.
So, again, thank you. And for everyone else, I, of course, am Tyna Shell. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the What a Man podcast. And I will see you all next week. Bye. Hey y'all, I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. Want to hear more music from Peace 765? Well, you can check him out on YouTube, where you'll find his new album, Sober Thoughts of a High Mind. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.
Life can be so much brighter. All about the perspective to see lows and what's higher. Life is beautiful. You just gotta get through the fire. Get through the fire.